Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Tom Wilson Racing YouTube channel. Coming here fresh off that double decker win last weekend at 16 to 1. Plenty of selections to get through, covering the cards at Naas tomorrow, Wetherby, Warwick, and Kempton on Saturday. Looking at the ITV racing mainly, well, wholly, other than tomorrow. Plenty to get through, so we're going to jump straight in and have a look at Naas tomorrow. The rearranged Lawlors of Naas card, of course. I did put this up. Both of my selections actually I put up in a short on Sunday last week ahead of racing getting abandoned there after the first race. My point, particularly in this first race, still stands. I think Mr. Policeman's priced up purely on reputation rather than substance of what is actually achieved. I wasn't particularly taken by his victory at Fairyhouse back in November. He made hard work of that, in my opinion. He was a horse that was quite keen for the Arkle going forward, but after that, I wasn't too sure. You can't obviously ignore the stable form of William Mullins at the moment, but if you look there, he ran to an RPR of 140, whereas Sifrawa, I think that's how you say it, the Gordon Elliott runner for the purposes of this, ran to an RPR of 138. So he's not got much to find with Mr. Policeman there. And I think he's been much more taking on that second start. He was running well at Navan when he fell. 40 length winner. The victory does that winning margin is a bit of a deception, really, given that they odds-on favourite Hunter's Yarn did fall at Fairyhouse at the last. Nevertheless, I thought he was running a huge race there. And given how close they are in RPRs, I can't have the price difference there. So purely, I think on that basis, Safari is worth a little bit of value there at 3 to 1. Mr. Policeman, I'll be looking at laying him, especially with the likes of Quilixius in him as well. But Safari, a point at 3 to 1. Moving on then to the Grade 1 Lawlors of Naas. The market has shuffled around in it a little bit. I've had an each way play on Antabar at 9 to 2. A little bit annoyed to see there, bet 36561 with three places, so I might go there and have a little bit of that as well, actually. Antabar, basically, I thought he ran a decent enough race in the Royal Bond over really a trip that's probably going to turn out to be too short in time. He appreciated testing conditions at Fairyhouse on his hurdles debut when he bet Champagne Admiral pretty comfortably. But if you look, he's a point-to-point winner over 3 miles, so I think this step-up in trip will really, really suit him. Fran and Glory, given the Royal Bond boost a nice boost, he would have almost definitely won at Aintree had he stood up at the second last, I think it was, when he came down. But I just think there's a bit more to come from Antabar. I think the step-up in trip will suit him. I think in time, 3 miles will be his trip, so I think they step up to 2 mile 4 tomorrow will suit him. 6 to 1 each way. I think you're going to thieve there. I think that's a really good each way bet, actually. 6 to 1. So there are my two bets for Naas tomorrow. Sifrawa in the first, and then Antabar, the Lawlors of Naas. Skipping ahead then to Saturday's action. ITV have one race from Wetherby, so that's the one that we'll start with. That's Grade 2 Toten Novices Chase. As you can see, I've blocked a couple out here, but we're going to ignore that for the purpose of this video. Even money about Colonel Harry. Now, Colonel Harry was a horse that I really, really do like, and he's a horse that he's probably one of my favourite horses in training, actually. Can't ignore the current form of Gavin Sheehan, who will really taking winner at Chepstow's Chase debut back in November. Tamaris with Paul Nichols has come. He will beat in 16 last that day, but he's won at Aintree on his following run on Boxing Day. Also, Colonel Harry went off 2 to 1 favourite for the 8th last time out. He was beaten only 11th, but stayed on really strongly. Suggesting a step up in trip will suit, and his pedigree also suggests that as well. He's at the same time as the likes of Manila Rocco, being lost, Rock the Cash Bar, and Thunder Rock, who have all benefited from a step up in trip, and I think he will as well. Yeah, he has achieved the most of these over fences so far, and 2 of his 3 wins on the rules have come at left hand of the track, so I think he'll be suited by the track. That being said, if you look at their hurdle forms, Colonel Harry was rated 132 over hurdles, and Trelawney Trulay of Kim Bailey's was rated 136, so he was technically better than Colonel Harry over hurdles. They both had 2 runs over fences. Colonel Harry's highest IPR was 149, Trulay 148. So there really is nothing in the two of them. Trulay, quick look at the notes here. Yeah, I don't think you can justify the price difference on that basis, to be honest with you. You would have to be slightly concerned about the strike rate of King Bailey's. I guess that would be the only concern. He has had a winner in his last 13 runners. But he is still at a 20% strike rate for the season, so Bailey are still operating fairly well. On IPRs, he's only just behind Colonel Harry, 149 over fences with a rating of 148. He's actually better on figures over hurdles than Colonel Harry, as I already mentioned. It was a fair third at Cheltenham last time out and beating only 3 lengths. Grey Dawn in second has some good form in the book and has had won a graduation chase at Sandown previously. And Ginny's Destiny was a good winner prior to that at Cheltenham in November as well. I don't think you can justify the price difference, to be honest. So I'm going to have Troll Wayne there, a point win for the Kim Bailey stable, hopefully. Now we're going to jump across to Kempton, where the first of the ITV races is the 130 Class 2 handicap chase over 3 miles. I've already sort of alluded to this. I've crossed out Shanty Classic and Darasha Count. I'll come on to Darasha Counter a little bit later. Shinty Classico, I've blocked him out. I've already mentioned the Kim Bailey stable form. I can't be backing a short price horse with that in the back of my mind. At least with Trollway to get a little bit of value there. Now I narrowed it down to 2 here. And the 2 that I narrowed it down to were Phlegmatic for Dan Skelton, who's 6-1 at the moment, and Marauder for Seamus Mullins. Now, and the fact that Sky Bet are doing money back if your horse finished second has led me to go with Marauder for reasons that I'll allude to in just a second. But Phlegmatic showed some promise at Ascot last time out, unbeaten 3 lengths in Grade 3 company, but he hasn't won since February 2022 and still off a £7 higher mark. Despite that, yes, so despite not winning since February 22, he's off a £7 higher mark than his last winning mark. That being said, 3 of his 4 wins have come right-handed tracks. 6 of the 6 times that he's won. He's run to an RPI of 140. Have come at right-handed tracks. And his form at Kempton is 3, first, 10th, second, being a neck. So he has got good Kempton form. But the fact that he hasn't won for the best part of coming up to 2 years now would be a concern for me. And he also has a preference for decent ground, which is a bonus for Phlegmatic. That being said, Marauder, he's got a falling handicap mark from 140 on his second reappearance at Wincanton in October, down to 137. So he's down £3 from his seasonal reappearance. Pulled up on both starts so far this season, but would question if the testing conditions at both Wincanton and Aintree were to his liking. 3 best runs when following Racing Post ratings have all come over better ground, so the return to the cyber surface looks a positive. As mentioned already, now for Mark over 137, which is only £1 higher than when finishing second to Kitty's Light at Sandown in Grade 3 Company back in April. All 5 of his wins under rules over fences have come over at least a 3-mile trip. So I think the return to better ground could be the resurgence that Marauder needs. So I've had a point on him to win at 20-1 with Sky Bet, money back as cash if your horse comes second. So no mess about with each way terms here. We've gone straight in for the win. Don't know if any other firms are doing extra places on this day. Oh, you can get 3-1 quite widely there. William Hill 25-1 3 places. I might have another fiver on him there as well each way. I think Marauder probably one of my stronger bets actually for Saturday. Moving on to the 207, which is the Grade 2 Silviano Conti. So I've had a look through this. This is called quite a bit. let's have a look. So Janadil probably would have preferred a bit of the softer ground for the William Mullins stable. Brian Hayes comes over to take the ride. Edward Stone, I'm not enthralled by the idea that him stepping up to trip now, if I'm honest with you, short enough with question marks about his state and credentials. That left me with three: Banbridge, Picdory, who was taking a bit of a walk in the market, and not until May. For me, Banbridge is the pick of the three here. I've been really looking forward to it making his seasonal reappearance. JJ Slevin comes across for the ride for Joseph O'Brien. For me, Banbridge was one of the best novices last season. Yeah, so just looking, he's got a bit of intertwining form. Not long until May was beaten by Stage Star twice. Banbridge betting at Aintree, Stage Star that is. Picdory bet Shortham Jack. Banbridge also betting. I just think Banbridge is a lot more scope to. I'm not enthralled by Picdory's reappearance at Ascot for the winning distance. Didn't really tell the full tale. I didn't think he jumped that well. I thought he was quite a fortunate winner. The race obviously fell to pieces when Shishkin didn't jump off. Had he jumped off, I think Shishkin probably had to beat the Picdory. Banbridge point at 9-4 there for me. Moving on to the feature of the card at Kempton, which is the 242, the Lanzarote hurdle. Taking a bit of the flyer in here. So as you can see, I've gone through it, followed the trends, and I've been left with two. The favourite Impose Etoile, which is a fair favourite, I'd say, actually, to be fair. I haven't backed him, but I might back him come the off if he takes a little bit of a walk in the market, which he could do. The one I have backed, though, 7 places, Sky Bet, 33-1, Teddy Blue, favourite of the first time cheap pieces, which is could be a positive for the Gary Moore stable, to be honest with you. After a couple of disappointing efforts this season, he's been dropped from a mark of 136 back down to a mark of 132. He's outpaced in 2 complete runs this season over 2 miles, so a step up in trip looks logical. A £1 lower mark than when finishing third in the Betfair hurdle at Newbury last February. Finished second off this mark 132 when beating a length in the Grade 3 company at Haydock in May. His best runs over hurdles, according to Racing Post ratings, have come on better ground, so it'll be suited by the drying conditions. Gary Moore's in fine form with a 24% strike rate, as is jockey Colin Quinn, who has a strike rate of 29%, and 6 of the last 10 winners were ridden by a conditional jockey in the Lanzarote hurdle. So I think he's well within each way play at 33-1 there. That concludes Kempton. Moving across to Warwick. Another graded race now, the Grade 2 Hampton Novices Chase. We'll be interested to see how Broadway boy copes, giving away weight to the field. Stable form of 9 for Tristan Davis would also be a little bit of a concern for me. Only having 1 winner in his last 19 runners. Apples Away was much better at Leicester than on her Chase debut. You would have to question the strength of that win. Despite that 31 length victory at Leicester, she's still considerably behind Grey Dawning on RPRs over fences. Apples Away achieving a 143 at Leicester versus Grey Dawning, who achieved 156 at Cheltenham last time out. I didn't think Grey Dawning lost that much in defeat actually last time out. He really clouted. I think it was the second last one coming to make his move. Despite that, he still ran on to be beaten. I think it was a length in the end, which was massive considering that he could have easily stopped, pulled up there. In fact, it would be at 3/4 length, even less than that. When conceding weight to Ginny's Destiny, I thought he lost very little in defeat. 3 mile trip wouldn't concern me too much. It would be only two lengths behind Stay Away Faye at Exeter in November. Yeah, I think, and based on that Haydock win as well as electric at Haydock that day's jumping, I think if Harry Skellin can get him out jumping back on a flatter track like Warwick, he's got every chance at Grey Dawning to pick up graded success over fences. So 9-4 there. The 3 o'clock, the Class 1 handicap chase of 3 mile 5 furlongs, sort of rattling through these. I can appreciate the videos going on a little bit now. Thought Percussion was worth another bet. Can get 5 places with William Hill there, 14-1. We'll have a little bit of that. The main reasoning for this bet is the fact that I just think she's worth another go. She's received some lenient treatment from the handicap following a fair third at Aintree in the Beecher last time out. Dropped £5 back down to a mark of 131. Form over 3 mile plus, so 3 mile further than 3 miles. Reads first, eighth, third pulled up third. She should be well suited by the return to drier ground as well. So I think drying ground, back up in trip. I think she's got every chance of a falling handicap mark here. Now, my final selection, I alluded to it a little bit earlier on, comes in the rearranged veterans final. The Rash account has a couple of entries now, but is a horse that I quite like the look of here, and he's also a tasty each way price at 18 to 1, 5 places. Now, it's not the strongest of cases, but I think there's every chance he could hit the frame. It was a second over course and distance here back in November 2022. I can only imagine that connections were absolutely enthralled. To see his mark of 136 unchanged when beating only 2 lengths to Good Boy Bobby, considering he was receiving a £4 hike for that win. So Good Boy Bobby went up £4 for that win, whereas the Rasher counter stayed on the same mark. Given the 2 length margin that they ended reversing weights this time, I can't have the price difference between Good Boy Bobby and the Rasher counter. As I've already mentioned, the Rasher counter was good second on his early course stars. Granted that he hasn't won since November 2019, but he's £13 lower now in the marks, and he has also shown that he does still hold some ability. The application of first time cheap pieces last time out seemed to have brought about a bit of life for the Emma Lavelle horse, and he's 4 from 5 wins under rules of outcome at left-handed tracks. So I think he's well worth a play there at 18 to 1 each way. So that concludes the selections. I know there was a lot there to get through. Hopefully, if you follow me, we can have some winners. If not, if you have some winners, fair play. Let me know who you've backed in the comments below. Let me know if you have any thoughts on my selections. And as always, gamble responsibly. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.